Hey folks, Chris Vandeviver here from WhyLogicProRules.com, the website that helps you get the most you can out of Apple's Logic Pro 10. I'm very excited for this week's video as this is a first for the website, and that is a product review of a third-party plugin called Bassroom by the company Mastering the Mix. And this comes at a fantastic time because I'm actually in the middle of moving my studio as we speak. So until I get my bass trapping and everything up, everything's sort of in upheaval. And so I don't have a room or a system to help me identify the low end accurately in my mixes. And the low end is the final frontier. A lot of us are working on headphones or in rooms or systems that are not acoustically treated to manage the low end. And so many of us really have no actual concept for what 40 hertz, 30 hertz, 60 hertz is supposed to sound like when it's represented accurately. So we do our best, we take shots in the dark, but the low end is tough without those tools. But now we have a tool. I'm a huge fan of Mastering the Mix as I find that they come up with very awesome and clever ways to manage serious mix problems and just make the mix process way easier and faster. So let's take a look at Bassroom. It looks very different from any other EQ that we've ever seen or any other processor for that matter. And the reason I mention EQ is because essentially Bassroom is an EQ for the low end. If we take a look at this FabFilter Pro EQ, this is what we're used to, 0 to 20K from left to right. That's something we've grown used to. Whereas Bassroom has a different visual representation. First, it works from 0 hertz to 320. It has 5 fixed bands from 0 to 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 80, 80 to 160, and 160 to 320. And when we reduce or boost a band, the band either goes further away from us in a 3D room environment or closer if we're boosting. And that sort of makes sense. When a sound is quieter, we perceive it as further away. If it's louder, we perceive it as closer to us, demonstrating what Bassroom actually is doing. Now, Bassroom doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's not just an EQ that we use to EQ our low end. No, instead it has targets for identifying where the low end should be based on genre of music. Mastering the Mix has done the hard work of analyzing the low end of hit mixes in a variety of genres and identifying general targets for each of those styles of music, from electronic to hip hop, pop to R&B, and there's even subgenres within those genres. So within the R&B, we have 90s contemporary, old school, rhythm, and blues. And so we pick a preset that will let Bassroom know what style of music that we are working on and where the low end should be hitting based on their analysis of hit mixes. And it will adjust in real time to let us know this is about where each one of these bands should be, either boost or cut or keep the same. So what better genre to test Bassroom on than hip hop? Hip hop lives and dies by its low end. And so I have a hip hop mix here. Now, it's a little more robust than contemporary hip hop. It has a lot of mid-range activity. It has a lot of rock influence, but nonetheless, I really want the low end to really lock in with what contemporary hip hop is supposed to sound like. So we go into the presets down at the bottom here, and we select a preset of hip hop and contemporary. There's suddenly these little lines on the left and right, and these will adjust and move as Bassroom analyzes my mix and compares it against its targets, and then it will specify whereabouts I should balance these particular ranges. All right, let's listen to my mix. Let's have Bassroom adjust and identify where the target should be, and then we'll make some adjustments. So we're just listening and watching Bassroom.
Hold on more in the accelerator. Messy passenger, no room on the floor. Secret shake, peaceful colleague in a mystery machine. Illegal smile, that's a review me. Simple things like last night, customized. Call the right Mercedes-Benz, nuisance not really sleeping right. Red velvet recline, oh the horror. Prophesize carnage at the end to say when exit shot.
Okay, so we can see down here that 0 to 20 hertz needs to get reduced. We can see here 40 to 80 needs a little bit of a boost. We also need to reduce a little bit, 80 to 160. Okay, and you can solo each band as well by control clicking, and it will solo that band so we can listen to just that. Also adjust the Q of each band by dragging these values to the left and right, but I'm just gonna leave them as is. So now I'm gonna play the track with Bassroom enabled. I'm gonna bypass it using the speaker icon, and we'll compare and contrast the differences, okay?
Hold on more in the accelerator. Messy passenger, no room on the floor. Secret shake, peaceful colleague in a mystery
Sounded pretty good to me. Okay, well and good. But obviously, we're working on music and no two mixes are alike. And maybe this low end is not working for you. You're like, hey, I have several references that I used to mix my track against for the low end, and I want to match those. I want to get in the ballpark of those, not whatever mastering the mix happened to use. Hey, no problem. To do that, just click on this target down here and we can load our own reference into Bassroom. We can specify what section of the song we want Bassroom to analyze, and it will set targets for us based on our references. Perfect. So let's open the Finder. I'm going to go into the Media Finder. And when I was working on this mix, I was using a Run the Jewel song quite a bit for identifying where I wanted the low end to be. So let's grab this track, drop it right into Bassroom. And now Bassroom is going to show us a visual display of the song. So I have listened to this song 2,000 times, so I know that that's the section that I want to use for setting my targets. Okay, so now let's hit Create Targets. Bassroom has done its work. Let's X out of this. Let's close the Finder over here. And now we're going to adjust these bands in relation to the new analysis. So let's take a listen.
Pull out a Lord in the accelerator. Messy passenger, no room on the floor. Seeker shake, bespoke holy in a mystery machine. Illegal smile, that's a review me. Simple things like last night, customized. Call the right Mercedes Benz, losing she's not really sleeping right. Red velvet recline, oh the horror. Prophesize carnage at the end to say when exit shot. Pull out a Lord in the accelerator. Messy passenger, no room on the floor. Seeker shake.
So obviously Bassroom is adjusting in real time. It's using loudness units to identify where these ranges should be, but it's really that easy. And this is a tremendous solution to the low end problem because low end cycles take a dramatic amount of time to be represented, and it requires a lot of trapping and a lot of acoustic treatment to try to manage that in a smaller room. So whatever system you're using, Bassroom could be of tremendous help to you. I truly believe that. And I love many of the other plugins by Mastering the Mix. So I hope that was helpful to you. If it was, as always, I highly suggest subscribing to the YouTube channel, Why Logic Pro Rules, or subscribing on the website itself, whylogicprorules.com. Every week, I'm posting new posts, videos, emails to help you get the most you can out of Apple's Logic Pro 10. Thanks so much.